Hi friends. What was that? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that I get asked about a lot, or like indirectly asked about, and that is referencing. It's kind of like a weird topic, I think, for a lot of people to talk about. No, you don't have to get down. I'm sorry. Come here. Want to say hi? I'm sorry. Anyway, referencing is something that a lot of young artists in particular don't really understand at first, like how to use references appropriately. And a lot of times I get people that think, and this comes from even people that are my age or have been drawing for as long as I have, they either think referencing is cheating and copying and just bad, or they think it's a method of not being original or true to yourself. This is this is not true. I'm trying to think of where we should even start with this. I guess we can start with what referencing technically means. Referencing means you are gaining knowledge from another resource, basically, to have like a point of reference. And I actually had to look this up because even I didn't know exactly how to explain referencing word for word in a way where it made sense. Technically, referencing when it comes to art means you are using either another artist or another piece of work or an object, and you are gaining knowledge from that object and putting it into your own drawing, so therefore you are loosely copying it. You are taking the knowledge from this other artist or this other piece of artwork and retaining it so that you may learn. I think the biggest misconception with referencing is people think that it means you are copying someone or something. You're being unoriginal. The one thing you have to remember is nothing in this world is original. Nothing is completely 100% unique. Most of the time we do get our ideas from somewhere or something. It doesn't matter how like heavily or loosely we take that knowledge from. The thing that you can do is put a unique or your own personal spin on it, and I think that's what's most important. So I get a lot of questions that are like, how do I learn to draw so-and-so? That is probably one of the questions that I get asked most frequently. How do I learn to get better at anatomy? How do I learn to draw people better? How do I get better at gesture drawing? Or like, how can I be able to draw, how do I get better at drawing animals? How do I, the list goes on and on and on. Oh my god, I get this question so much. I always reply really quickly like, you gotta practice, like just look at, my number one response is look it up and draw it, like grab reference. But I realize, or I'm beginning to realize now, that just saying like just copy it, like look it up is probably not the most clear answer, even though from my point of view it's black and white. Like if I need to learn how to draw a tree, I look at a tree, because how am I gonna know how to draw a tree if I've never seen a tree in my life before, you know? If you guys need any help looking for reference, most of the time I just use Google or real life. I literally will just Google what it is that I need to draw, and if I need to get more specific I will, and I will just search through the images, look at a couple, grab a couple, and then I will just draw exactly what I see. Sometimes I'll do it a couple times, like if I want to draw a lamb, I will Google a lamb, I will Google a couple different kinds of breeds, maybe sketch them out from reference, and then after I've referenced a couple of them, then I will just do one from memory, usually in whatever illustration it is that I'm working on. Other things that can help are looking at your favorite artists. Maybe you're not sure how you want to stylize eyes or something like that, so you can grab a couple of your favorite artists and study from them until you can kind of make your own version or your own thing of maybe all the different artists that you enjoy, like find your own combination. But I realize now that I guess when you're first starting out drawing, it's not that clear, and so many people misconstrue referencing and copying from stealing. One is for learning purposes, one is to get better at learning whatever you are referencing or copying. The other is you are blatantly stealing it and claiming it as your own. That being said, even copying stuff isn't bad so long as you always give proper credit. So that comes to the next thing that a lot of people get confused about, which is giving proper credit. These days, I try whenever I can to shout out, even if I'm not directly copying from my favorite artists anymore, I try to at least, you know, like, I'm completely 100% inspired by Claire Wendling and Natalie Hall. A lot of Final Fantasy stuff. Who else? A lot of my friends are completely inspiring to me, whether they are old or new friends. When you reference something in a paper for college, they always say you need to cite your references, right? Otherwise it's plagiarism. It's the same in drawing. I think the biggest thing that you can do wrong when referencing or copying from someone or something is to feel ashamed. I think being ashamed is what causes people to feel like they can't reach out and admit that they have needed to learn. They have needed to find resources to get better, that they want to learn and get better. For some reason, we feel like failures for having to admit that we needed help, especially when it comes to creative stuff, because, I don't know, it's such a personal thing. It's such a personal process to create something with your own hands, from your own brain and your own heart. It hurts to have to admit you needed help. At least that was probably one of my biggest issues, was I just felt, again, I felt like I had failed needing to admit that I couldn't just do this on my own. And that is such a negative way and such a silly way to think about it. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs to learn how to do stuff somewhere, somehow. I think we just have to stop being so hard on ourselves and being more open and honest about the ways that we learn, and I think that would make it easier on younger artists to be like, yeah. I mean, like, even today, compared to when I started drawing, like, I see people online that are like, they tag me in stuff that they've used my work for as a reference. It's so heartwarming to see that these kids who are like half as old as me, they're already doing as well as I am, and they're so much braver than I was at that age as well, to be able to like reach out and tag me in a post and say like, I used this, I was inspired by you and I redrew this, or I drew your character, or I tried out your style because I just loved it so much. Like, at that age, oh my god, I would have been absolutely mortified if my art, like my favorite art idols, ever saw me trying to draw like them, because I, one, would have just felt like, oh my god, I'm so unoriginal, I can't even come up with my own stuff, or two, like, it's never going to be as good as theirs, they can't see it. So that was usually the biggest reason why I would feel like I couldn't say that I used a reference, even though it was probably very obvious that I did. It's so hard to get over that feeling of not being confident enough in my own stuff to be able to even admit that kind of stuff. So I think that is also something else that a lot of people should keep in mind if they get their stuff stolen or copied. That could be like a whole other video, honestly, talking about stolen work and how you can handle it. But at least most of the time in my cases where I've had stuff stolen from me, thankfully, it's mainly been like young kids that I'm sure I know exactly how they felt, if not at least somewhat. So I try not to, like, you know, let it get to me or anything like that, but it's such a weird thing. So I think that's the biggest thing, is use reference, copy from people if you need to, but don't be ashamed about it, because we all have to learn somewhere. And once you get better and more confident in your own stuff, you can stop using as much reference and start doing your own stuff, because you'll already have that knowledge. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Be nicer to yourself. Art is a hard thing. you know, not everybody can just see something in their head and draw it on paper. Like any craft, it takes time and practice. But yeah, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. Hopefully I can fix this and edit this into like a way where it's at least a little consecutive, because I just kind of went all over the place. I have some other friends who are working on putting together like a document that kind of goes over a lot of the points that I made, but in much more detail, and it shows some examples and places where they get their references and all kinds of stuff. So of course, as always, if you guys have any questions, you are welcome to leave them down below. I'll try my best to answer them. You're always welcome to leave ideas for new videos, what you would like me to talk about. I'm working on trying to get some new content that I can post some walkthroughs for you guys on here too, art walkthroughs. So I promise those haven't gone anywhere. I just haven't had the time to record anything just yet. So, but yeah, I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of... Why did I say that? Thank you as always for listening to me ramble, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye! Oh, my hair is different, by the way. Did you notice? I match Roga now! Just what every kid wants their mom to say. We match now!